Hello, welcome to this short session today. We're going to be talking about fair housing. There's a lot of questions that come from the fair housing section that are on the national portion of your test. I think there's 14 questions overall that come from this section. So you got to concentrate, pay attention to this section. Now, in this session today, we're going to talk about only the origination of the Fair Housing Act, talk about some dates, and then we're going to specifically spend time on the protected classes that are under the Fair Housing Act that you need to know for the state exam, okay? My name is John Enzing. I'm a licensed real estate instructor, both in Louisiana and Florida. My specialty is to do one-on-one private tutoring with you, the student, okay? Prep you for the exam, non-credited hours, but to build your confidence and clean up anything that you may not understand, including national, which is math, finance, contracts, all those subject matters, and also the state portion, civil code, and then about the commission. If you want to schedule a session, go to privateturingsessions.com. That's privateturingsessions.com and schedule a session, or you can email me at john.enzing@gmail.com. All right, let's dive right on into this. Fair housing. So what do we want to know? Well, this date you definitely want to know. The Civil Rights Act of 1866. Make note of this. You want to know this for the state exam. This made racial discrimination illegal, period. Okay, kind of the first act that came out when it comes to discriminating against protected classes. Racial discrimination is illegal. Civil Rights Act of 1866. You want to know that for the state exam. The next came, we're talking about almost 102 years later, is when the Fair Housing Act, the federal government got together, put together the Federal Housing Act of 1968. This is what you want. You want to know this too. Now, racial discrimination is also incorporated in this. So this is just added to the 1866. So you got race, religion, and national origin. Okay, so religion and national origin came around when the Federal Housing Act of 1968 was instituted. Then you got the Housing and Community Act of 1974, okay, which incorporated sex or gender. Okay, so that became also a protected class, followed by the Fair Housing Amendment of 1988. This is what brought familial status, family status, single moms with children, etc., and handicap. So anything that deals with children under the age of 18 that are under either a guardianship or a parental parents fall under familial status, okay? And then the last one obviously is handicap. So this is what makes up your fair housing protected classes. You got to know these dates, and know these protected classes. Now, I've got a nice little memory aid that's pretty popular. And the acronym, if you look all the way to the right, is called Fresh Corn, okay? Again, a very easy memory aid, fresh corn, nothing like good fresh corn, right? So what is F? Familial status, okay? R, race, nothing for E, so I just circle it, or you can put an X through it. S is sex or gender, H, handicap, C, color. And then the circle O, or X through the O, and then R, religion, and N, national origin, okay? Fresh corn, a great memory aid. You have got, pay attention to me, you've got to know these protected classes for your state exam, okay? So instead of just memorizing them, kind of getting lost, because it can be a little confusing, fresh corn, and get to the point where you can identify each protected class based on the memory aid, okay? Hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed this short session on the procuring, or the introduction to the fair housing laws, the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, and racial discrimination of 1866 and 74 and 88, and got to know those dates, and you got to know the protected classes. Fresh corn, okay? Good memory aid. So listen, if you need some tutoring, go to privateturingsession.com, privateturingsession.com. Go ahead and schedule me, and let's do some one-on-one training, okay? Listen, real estate industry is fun. You'll have a good career. Best luck on your exam. Bye now.